Now, I like answering questions, and I'll probably do more of it in upcoming videos. But here's a Christian who seems to have some very heartfelt questions for atheists, and I'm not about to deny him. But I've seen questions like this before, and it always baffles me how people can actually ask them, because the answers seem very obvious to me. At least I have to give him credit because he's being honest, not those gotcha questions that I see from a lot of professional apologists. So anyhow, here's my answers to some theist questions, and I hope it helps.
Alright guys, so I'll be the first person to admit that I don't know a lot about a ton of stuff, and so I'm going to say this straight up, that I don't know a lot about atheism.
How can you not know a lot about atheism? I mean, there just isn't anything to know. It's not believing in gods. That's it. Full stop. It's a rejection of unjustified claims. That's all there is to it. What's not to understand?
But I have some questions for atheists that I'm trying to understand myself.
Then by all means, ask away. I'm always happy to answer questions.
It appears to me that most atheists are Western influenced, typically white, and typically male.
That's not necessarily the case. Those are just the ones that you're most likely to hear from online because they're the ones with the technical resources to get online. They also tend to be the best educated, and education has a negative correlation with religiosity. They also come from Western cultures where free speech is enshrined in the laws and societies, so they feel that they can speak their mind without being murdered by the religious, or at the very least, that their lives are not negatively impacted for daring to speak out against religion. That doesn't mean they're the only ones out there. There are skeptic and atheist groups in Asia, in Africa, in the Middle East. They just can't speak out, or you get what you see in Bangladesh with religious Muslims murdering outspoken atheists with machetes.
Now there are some female atheists out there, and they typically subscribe to very militant feminism.
But a lot of male atheists subscribe to militant feminism too, and that's because the majority of modern Western atheists are young, and young people tend to skew to the political left. Conservative atheists like myself are a relative minority, but we do exist.
So my question is, and this is just from stuff that I've watched, because again, I don't have an interest in trying to disprove atheism.
You can't disprove atheism because atheism makes no claims. It just doesn't take the claims of the religious seriously.
Or anything like that. I literally I don't understand why. Why is it that most atheists debate and try to tear down Christianity?
As I've already said, most vocal atheists come from the West, where Christianity is the majority religion. It's the biggest target, the religion with the most social influence, and the thing that you're most likely to run into if you're looking for a religious debate.
I don't see a lot of atheists debating Buddhists or Muslims or Jews.
It's a matter of presence. There aren't nearly as many Buddhists online debating as there are Christians. Muslims are a bit more common, but in the United States at least, Muslims make up less than 1% of the population compared to more than 70% of Christians. You can't debate what isn't available. Does that mean that I wouldn't debate Muslims or Buddhists? Of course not. And I have. It's just hard to turn over a rock without finding Christianity underneath, so that's what gets the most attention because it's the most prevalent.
It's mostly Christians that they debate against. Why, if you don't believe that God exists, why do you have to spend so much time convincing others of the same thing?
Because a belief in some imaginary man in the sky is harmful, not only to the believer, but to everyone around them. Now, speaking only for myself, I view the existence of any woo belief, including religion, as hazardous to the existence of and advancement of rational human thought. The ability to come to rational decisions based on reason, logic, and evidence matters. It's how we've gotten to this point in our technological advancement. But when you have a large group of people, or several large groups of people, who'd rather believe absurd things for emotional reasons and reject demonstrable science because it disagrees with their emotional beliefs, that's a problem. It just is.
Like, unless you want to know why I love Jesus and why I think that Jesus is real, I'm not going to spend my time convincing you of that.
Unfortunately, I do care what you believe because your beliefs inform your actions. It informs how you vote. It informs how you think. Now, as I've said a lot lately, and quite a bit more often in fact, religion isn't necessarily the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. The problem is overly emotional, irrational thought. Religion is just one of the most common and obvious examples of that problem. And I care every bit as much about the other examples as I do about religion.
And again, that's why I don't really know a lot about atheism, because I don't have enough time to focus on my belief in Jesus Christ to focus on your non-belief in a God.
And that's really a problem if you think about it, because the real takeaway from atheism is to question whether or not you have a good reason to believe in Jesus at all. I'd argue that you don't, but that's because when I was a believer and I decided to take a look at my beliefs and see if they could be verified in any meaningful way in reality, I found out that you couldn't do it. And in all the decades that I've been debating religion since, I have yet to find a single case where any theist of any stripe could justify their beliefs entirely rationally without emotion or blind faith. I don't think it can be done.
It seems counterproductive for me. It seems more like it should be live and let live. If your pursuit is intelligence, that's great. My pursuit is intelligence also.
No, it's not. But by intelligence, I'm including the dispassionate pursuit of knowledge, objective, demonstrable knowledge, without turning to emotions or wishful thinking or blind faith. I don't believe things that cannot be demonstrated to be objectively true. I don't accept propositions that cannot be verified with objective evidence or critical reasoning. If you do, as all theists do, whether they want to admit it or not, then you're not being intelligent, at least not on the level that I expect.
I very much believe in science. I very much believe in a lot of things that you believe too.
And that's fine, but I believe in science does not get you past I also believe things that science does not show to be real. And that's something else that I see coming from theists all the time. The idea that just because someone believes something that's valid and worthwhile, that anything else they believe is also valid and worthwhile. Apologists try this all the time, pointing to scientists who also believe in God. Yeah, but they believe in God for entirely different reasons than their scientific work. For one, they're being rational. For the other, they're not.
Except for I believe that there is a God and you believe that there isn't.
Wait a minute. Nobody said that. I reject your beliefs because your beliefs have not been demonstrated to be factually true. There's a difference between believing something doesn't exist and not believing that it does. I don't believe in unicorns for exactly the same reason I don't believe in gods. Yet I don't go running around declaring my faith in the non-existence of unicorns. I don't bother because there's nobody out there trying to push unicorn belief as a basis for society. That's not the case with religion.
So I just want to understand why, if you are so adamant about a God's non-existence, why do you spend so much time convincing other people of his non-existence as well?
Why do you, meaning theists in general, spend so much time trying to push the existence of your imaginary friends? If you just shut up and keep it to yourself, so would we. But that's kind of the point, isn't it? Theists want a double standard. They want to be able to spread the good word without having anyone disagree with them. But you know something? I don't think the word you're spreading is all that good. It might be emotionally comforting, but it isn't demonstrably true. So when you're saying things that I think are nonsense, I reserve the right to tell you and anybody else that you're wrong. I'll do that for any woo belief. I don't care how much your beliefs mean to you. I don't care how they make you feel. I only care if they're factually true. And frankly, you got no way of showing that, no matter how much you want to pretend that you do. Atheists aren't out to get you. They're out to get irrational beliefs. It just so happens that you hold one. You really ought to listen to what atheists have to say, evaluate the actual evidence for the claims that you're making, and decide if your beliefs can be rationally justified. If they cannot, no matter how important they are to you emotionally, you need to jettison them. That's what being a rational human being is. It's what we all need to be. Theists need to give that one a try.